Welcome back, everyone. I am the Depressed Eeyore, and this is Langrisser Mobile Apex Season, I think it's Season 9. Alright, so we're going against Amateur28 first, whatever his name is, but this is actually someone we fought against before. He was the one where I killed his Kyura with my Pyrotes. In any case, it looks like he's changed up his box a little bit, which is kind of interesting. He's using a Silver Wolf. Definitely seem to favor a bit more assassins now. And besides that, I think it's more or less the same. I guess the biggest difference is I don't see SP Element anymore, and he's now got Wet Hem. I don't know if he had Wet Hem in the previous box. I can take a look later. In any case, he does have a Wet Ham, so I'm going to go ahead and ban that first. No real updates on my box, by the way, besides just trying to fail at getting good enchants. Opened with banning my Christian, which I'm pretty sure he did that before, and I still don't understand why. I mean, I guess if he really favors his casters, I guess. In any case, takes Sherry as his opener. I don't know if he had SP Sherry in the previous match either. In any case, got rid of Hilda, obviously because of the crit negation, and went ahead and got rid of Zerida because obviously Zerida can buff a lot of things here, including Sherry. There's not really anything I can do about preventing Sherry from getting a faction buff because Christian and Ledin are there. Alright. And you can even get attack buffs from a bunch of these other characters as well. Anyway, I take my Hilda, ban some of my long range casters and my Zerida. They take Christian, which I was completely okay with, because that bought me time to go ahead and ban some of the other stuff. So obviously Princess Faction buff is now active here, which can buff Cherry there. So went ahead and just started knocking out some of the other Princess Faction characters, mainly especially characters that can self-res. So got rid of both Lucretia and Yulia there. Took Sabame. I took a while trying to figure out who to take here, but looking at the box, there's not much AoE to deal with, and I didn't really want to start diving and trying to grab, like, since I lost Zerida, some of these characters are really only viable. Well, they'll be more viable if I had someone that, you know, provided an attack buff or something, but Tsubame was just kind of a solid pick here. When I took out my Florentia and my Sherry. I was considering taking Sherry, but the bans from this pretty much ensure that she wouldn't be able to get any buffs unless I take an attack, mass attack or strengthen. They take Kyura, so Kyura is not Meteor Faction or Princess Faction, so I just went ahead and I was tempted to ban both Dark Faction buffers, but I went ahead and just took out Bozel, and then I took out their Teleport / Strengthen. I think that was probably a better call. Obviously, Lucretia can be, or not Lucretia, Lycoris could be a bit annoying, but she's she's actually squishier than Bozel in a lot of cases. At this point, I went ahead and take Tensei Jessica just to ensure that I had at least a strengthen if I need it. Also, the teleport will be really useful in this case because I can teleport Tsubame in, and at this point, there's not really anyone that can actually stop her stealth at the moment. At this point, if they hadn't have banned my Angelina, I would have considered taking her, because obviously Christiana has no way of preventing the pushes that Angelina can do, and Kyura, of course, is also a viable pick as well, as far as just bypassing guard. Went ahead and went with Liana. So at this point, this leaves Silverwolf, Rosenseal, Lycoris, and Ledin, and all of them are pretty annoying. I didn't really want to deal with the pull back that Ledin can do, but since that's single target, I think I was pretty safe about it. So, but I still go ahead and ban Ledin anyway. I was completely fine with them having Rosenseal if they really want to. And Silverwolf doesn't even have a faction buffer, so I don't really know what the plan is there. In any case, I went ahead and brought in Marielle. This gave me another guard bypass that was reliable. I can faction buff Marielle. I can't really faction buff Pyrotes. And Marielle also can provide some passive healing if I need it. So kind of covered a bunch of bases there. So they went and banned my Helena and my Pyrotes, so that leaves me with essentially my choice of healers. And they take Silverwolf. So for this one, I actually brought in Sissy White, mainly because she can do an act again. But she also has some other aspects that are actually really useful. I used up my entire timer trying to figure out what skills to bring, though to be honest, it wasn't as complicated as it really needed to be. I did swap troops here because obviously Christiane here is infantry, and I usually tend to bring Amazons, but I went ahead and brought in heavy infantry this time, which my infantry troops are a lot more trained now. They're almost maxed out. I have almost every skill maxed out at this point. I think there's like one skill I haven't maxed out yet. In any case, Tsubame standard kit with faceless, Marielle standard kit with heavy infantry, Light of Genesis. Since everyone's on faction except for Sissy White, I went ahead and dropped strength in and just took Holy Light just in case. There's not, I mean, I was fully expecting their Sherry to have angels, but it looks like this Sherry actually has unicorns. So, but in any case, Light of Genesis is not going to do too much against Christiane. Speaking of, this Christiane is still only 5 stars and not 6. Hilda standard kit brought crystal molders, mainly just in case Kaira tries to whittle her down. But there's not really any troops I desperately need because this actually turned into an assassin versus assassin match here. So Sissy White is the kind of the standout. Originally I was gonna be like, oh, I'll take mass attack, and then I was like, wait, I don't actually need mass attack. So I brought in Inspire. For those who don't know what Inspire does, is it's a has 0 cooldown, costs 3 coins to activate, so it actually uses her currency. It'll heal everyone within 3 blocks of herself, dispels 1 buff, or 1 debuff, and then it gives increased mobility by 1. It also it also grants immunity to mobility down. And then it also applies a buff to summon units if you happen to have any out. But pretty much it's just for extra mobility. But yeah, as I mentioned before, it's assassin versus assassin. Sherry, Kaira, and Silver Wolf can all bypass guard, and Tsubame and Marielle can bypass guard here. So they have more assassins than me, but I have more support. They have an act again, of course, and they have Ode of Creation. So Liana did bring her 3C, so she can buff more than likely either Kaira or Silver Wolf. Both of them have no way of actually increasing their attack. Sherry, of course, Shadow Raid with Raging Storm with Unicorns. Christiane went Angels and Fallen Petals and Floral Realm. What was the other skill I usually supposed to take? I'm trying to think. Oh, she didn't take the Aura. That's what she didn't take. Silver Wolf. So for those who don't know, for every buff that's on Silver Wolf, his attack and defense increased by 7%. At most, and it goes up to 3 times. This doesn't look like it's a maxed out Silver Wolf. 21%, 7 and 21 is a weird number to be a cap for. Also, if he critically hits, he will steal 2 buffs from the target, so he can definitely purge off buffs. He was in some people's boxes in the early seasons because he can really, he can actually hit pretty hard and he can purge off a lot of stuff. He's got Cold Blood, which of course gives him 2 extra movement, additional crit and crit damage. He has Sly Stride, nothing too special, and then he has his 3C. His 3C is 2 range, ignores guard, attacks a single enemy for 1.4 times, gives the unit its he gives himself +1 mobility for some reason and plus 30% skill, and damage taken decreased by 20% before entering battle. And then lasts for 2 turns. If a critical hit is triggered, this skill's cooldown is reduced by 1. So nothing too out there. Dark Elf snipers aren't too fantastic, but it's better than nothing. And Kairi here just brought standard offensive kit. Anyway, let's go ahead and dive right into this. So opens with getting the self-res active. At this point, I moved forward. My opponent has no AoEs, so I can just safely do whatever. Went ahead and did long-term investment to get that going. So despite my opponent having the initiative, I kind of have more control over when the attacks can happen, because obviously I have the stealth character. I definitely took a long time on this first round, because obviously I had access to a teleport, and that can greatly influence what I can mess around with here. But I eventually just decided to let this turn pass. So I got plus 20% damage dealt from, I think it was from Tensei Jessica's headdress, but and then the investment gave me reduced damage taken. Anyway, just to kind of give some visibility here, I can't really get in range right now, but with Light of Genesis, I can easily get anyone within range. Marielle, unfortunately, if she gets in range, is going to put her in range of Kyura. Alright, so at this point, my opponent went ahead and did faction buff / guard. So at this point, he's good to go. At this point, and I went ahead and put up an Inspire. I had 4 coins. Oh, sorry, I had 3 coins left. And so I went ahead and used them all. So now everyone has +1 mobility. So there's my coverage. So I'm actually a space short from hitting anything from where Tsubame is at. And Marielle, of course, can go all the way up to here with her Enduring Faith. Alright, Sherry moves up. I'm just staying as far away as possible because my opponent does have the initiative right now, so he'll always go first on the round. Alright, so at this point I teleport. I moved in a way so I don't get an extra action because I didn't want one. In hindsight, I think it would have been okay just to get the extra action and get that cycling. But I went ahead and teleported in. I'm 1 space short of running into Kyura. Kyura can't attack because I have stealth active. So I am pretty much safe. So Kyura falls back. My original target was Kyura. So I have had a bad track record in killing Sherry. Whenever I see this self-res here, I assume it's the helmet, which allows her to regen health whenever she takes fixed damage. So this is essentially a counter against Twilight Stars. And like I said, I've had a bad track record in falling short of killing Sherry. So I went ahead again. I took a long time trying to figure out who, like, if I kill Sherry, that would be amazing. That pretty much wins me the game. But I couldn't guarantee that it would work, and I'm really bad at doing the math on the spot. But Silver Wolf has no buffs, and I have higher skill, so I will strike first. So I can at least guarantee I kill Silver Wolf, and if I use the 3C, I can guarantee I get stealth back up. And that will pretty much nullify Kyura's passive, so her mobility will drop greatly. And even if Liana pops her act again, she wouldn't actually be able to attack Tsubame. So I go after Silver Wolf here. Counter arrow, but that doesn't do enough. So first strike. Way overkill. But needed the guard bypass. Since I did have long-term investment active, I did get 2 coins back for the kill. And then since I got out of range using the 3C's extra steps, stealth is active, but this is only a temporary stealth. So at this point my opponent does act again, but I don't know what the plan is. Kyura can't attack Tsubame. I don't know if it was a mistake. Also, since Act Again was popped on Kyura and not Sherry, I was safe to actually move up with Marielle. This actually puts her, thanks to the movement buff, she can get to here and then to here and attack. She can attack Sherry, which will get guarded, and then she can attack again at any target she wants. Alright, get the invest. I don't think I actually got any buffs from that, because I think all of hers are still active. Alright, so I move in. So even with my reduced damage, I actually nearly killed Christiane, which was pretty crazy. Yeah. So again, I took a long time trying to figure out, second guessing myself on what target I want to go to. Obviously, Sherry is the biggest threat, but I could not guarantee that I would be able to get kill. Like, I'm that terrified of Sherry, because if she has the helmet that gives her health back after taking fixed damage, she will essentially have last rites active. which will greatly reduce the damage she takes. I think she would have still gotten kill. The other issue, of course, is I had infantry troops versus cavalry troops, so that was the other thing that kind of stopped me from attacking Sherry. Even Kyura, even in forest and even with buffs, she didn't have any sort of helmet to help prevent the fixed damage or negate the fixed damage. So I can guarantee I could break her last rites and at least get the kill. So with that, it's now 3 on 5, and went ahead and dispelled a bunch of buffs. So my opponent decided to open with Shadow Raid. I don't know why. Probably just to get it on cooldown. And then did a normal attack. Yeah. So at this point I just fell back because obviously my stealth is going to go away soon. Or it just did, actually. I probably could have gotten a kill on Christiane, but it would have she would just self-resed, and then I would have been out in the open. So at this point, it's a race of cooldowns. So I fall back. Sherry's, of course, moving up. And I'm hiding in the corner here. Go ahead and did Inspire again. Go ahead and get everyone's... I had 6 coins, so I went ahead and just popped 3, and I was going to get 2 next round. So that'll ensure that I have enough to do an act again if I need it. So obviously, I'm trying to cycle through these the Killing Machine cooldown, because I'm going to need it to potentially try to kill Sherry. So, does Full Bloom. Don't know why. So, got Stealth back up, which is good. Act again. So this is just to get Christiane's cooldown so she can actually do her faction buff. At this point, I move in and I do my 3C. Act again, and now she gets plus 30% to all of her stats. So her stats are kind of through the roof at the moment. There's still 3 opponents, so I can also get an additional 24% attack and skill. I'm hoping that's going to be enough to kill Sherry, because if it doesn't, I'm going to probably end up losing. Because essentially, all Sherry would have to do is just pass... well, she can either bypass guard or stun me. So at this point, I move in. So here's the situation. 1760. So I'm within range. So this is what my stats are with the Silent Wing. So 1761, and it looks like my faceless are 1755. And that's their defenses. I don't remember how much Last Rites reduces damage, but that's the big thing I'm concerned about. So yeah, there's Holy Aegis, so back to full. I need to do, what, 24,000? Yeah, even with the crit I was doing 26,000. Now, there was also a bunch of knives being thrown still. So it's possible I would have done a bit more damage from there, but that's what I was concerned about. In any case, not too bad. Got kills with both my assassins, 2 on Tsubame and 1 on Marielle. At that point, since I did my 3C and backed away, I had stealth active, and at that point all I had to do was just wait. Actually, I didn't even need to wait, I could just whittle down. At that point I could just punch Christiane down, and then just win that way. But yeah, pretty good match. Like I said, this was an opponent we fought before. I did have a match prior to this, I unfortunately lost. It was a lot of AoE, and the opponent also had a Lewin, SP Lewin, and I didn't actually have any magic damage dealers. So even if I was able to outkill his other DPS, his Lewin alone would be able to probably solo the entirety of my army, because he's really good against physical, like extremely. He had 900 defense. It was just, I wasn't going to be able to punch through it. In any case, win percentage is still above 50%, not too shabby. At this point, I am slightly curious about a couple of things. Yeah, Last Rites reduces all damage by 40%, so yeah, that was with 40% damage reduction, which is pretty crazy. And then the other thing I wanted to check, like I mentioned before, we did fight him before, so he was in this fight. I just want to see what sort of changes he did to the box. So yeah, he had SPL and didn't have Wet Ham, had Illustrial, and I guess Illustrial got replaced with Silverwolf. And he also had Tiaras, which got replaced with Lycoris, it looks like. So yeah, kind of interesting just to see kind of how people change the boxes up. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and call it here. Sorry if I sound a little out of it. It's rather late, and I've had a bit of a rough week. But in any case, I got my win, so I'm good for the week. So I'm The Depressed Hero. This was Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 9. I'll see you guys next time.